goal line, off fast line, deep fast line, and a squad line, a squad line, and a sail line, and a sail line, and a sail line. Tick, tick. We're on 3, 1, 2, 3.
What's going on, guys? I'm Anthony Gonzalez, head football coach at Everett Alvarez High School, and we are in week 5, right? I think, with Coach to Coach, and I'm always joined with
Dylan Mack, head coach of Elmwood Park High School just outside of Chicago, Illinois.
Again, week 5, and we're coming out.
Week 5.
Yeah, dude, like, it's been a rough month. Like, however, we were talking before this show, right? Like, we have a chance. Our board, I don't know why our board gets to decide, because they don't decide anything with athletics. And then all of a sudden, like, boom, they're making the decisions. But on Tuesday, they're deciding whether or not we get to practice on October 5th. That's pretty exciting because we haven't had any breath of athletics since March. So, like, we're pretty pumped. I'm kind of excited. I'm trying not to get my hopes up, though, because if it doesn't happen, I'm going to sink deeper into the depression that I have.
Right. Yeah, because that's where I'm at right now, is we have nothing till February 15th. We were told that February 15th is when we can start doing any sort of football activity.
Oh, man, you didn't tell me that. So you can't even, like, condition or anything?
Nope.
When would your first game be?
March 5th.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So
unlike you out in California, it's cold in March.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not
Like
that cold. Yeah. Like here, it's like a nice 65, 70 degrees like every day. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
It's a balmy, like 25 to 30 degrees.
Oh, so what, you just need like a hoodie and that's it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, dude. All right. Let's start on some questions. We're going on the offensive side first, it looks like. I mean, that's okay. All right.
Yeah. We did defense last week.
I mean, you're right. Since you like to throw the ball, this is probably a good one. This one's from Coach Tyson LeBlanc out in Illinois. Maybe you know him. He's your neck of the woods. So they're playing a 3-4 cover 4 team that regularly drops 8. What do you like against it?
Well, I think we all know the answer to that.
Mesh.
Right. Like let's not kid ourselves. So Mississippi State yesterday destroy LSU.
I didn't watch it.
You should have.
I should have.
Yeah, I got it recorded. I'll send you a copy.
Okay.
But
very cool.
Yeah, guy throws for over 600 yards first game using the air raid. 600 yards, easy. 5 touchdowns. Yeah, it was pretty legit. So mesh, I love mesh in all situations. But if they're going to drop 8, they're only going to rush 3. Like, you probably should run the ball.
That's
you know,
true.
I mean, like, they're giving you the box. Like, especially if those linebackers are going to play real far off the ball and really get into that pass drop quickly. Just run the ball. A lot of draws. Like, that would probably be my go-to to start.
Wait, you actually have draw plays?
Well, that's really our bread and butter run play.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Because then I don't have to teach another scheme to my offensive line.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. I got interested in that LSU Mississippi State game. Now I'm on a commercial on ESPN. My bad. Dude, yeah, 44-34. God dang. All right, Mississippi State. Man, that's incredible.
Right.
Okay, so we on our defense, our like base coverage is a rush 3, drop 8. What really gets us a lot is, I'm not sure what the concept is called. I really don't remember. Is like, let's say they're 2x2 and you have 2 concepts going on, but on like one side of it, you have the number 2 receiver run like a 10-yard dig, and then the number 1 receiver run a post. That usually gets us, like, we have to literally coach that up a lot because that usually beats us a lot. What the dig does, it gets that safety that's back there to kind of chase and go towards the middle of the field, and then
opens up that.
Yeah, it opens up the post on the backside, and that's what usually gets us. Or it's like a curl from number 2 and a post from number 1, something just to get that safety's attention while there's a post going over the top of him, and the corner is kind of staying true to his quarter, and then we just he just like, oh, that wasn't my guy because he went inside. And I'm like, well, technically you're right, but you still got to run with it. You got no other threats coming.
On that corner, just he has bad leverage at that point.
Yeah, 100%.
That's really what it is. And if you have a team that can actually throw the ball well, that's a tough play for that corner.
Yeah. So we really had to coach that up. We got beat with it, and we literally had to coach that on the sideline because we didn't practice that. They didn't show that, and I was like, oh crap, we better fix this. And I mean, we fixed it. Like we ended up winning that game, but like it was just one play touchdown. I was like, whoa, we better do something about that. And watching
and for us, that's our shallow concept is on that backside where shallow is going to is a dig and then a post.
Okay.
So just kind of open it up.
With your shallow, you mean like on the front side, the number 2 guy's running a drag?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, dude, that's what usually gets us with that. And then obviously, like I guess with the 3-4, I would attack B gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Question number 2.
What are you trying to look for when calling plays on offense? Ends and backers from Coach Studstill in Georgia.
I think I grabbed this one from the Wing T one, but I mean, you could obviously answer this one for sure, but your answer, we know your answer already. I'm just gonna run mesh
all the time. I mean,
dude, honestly, like I keep looking at the play and I'm like, we could do this in the Wing T. You said it was expensive last week, but I'm like,
you can do it in the Wing T. It's just
I still want to do it. Yeah,
it takes a lot of time. So
kind of like
maybe if I'm not playing at all this year, I'll fly out to Cali for you. And I'll do a week with you guys.
Oh, all right. That sounds good. So with us, what we're technically looking for is, I mean, ends first. That's where we usually kind of attack because we usually, when I did what am I trying to say? When we scouted ourselves, I noticed that we really like to attack the C and B gaps, the B gap to the weak side where there's an end, right? And then a C gap, and the C gaps to the tight end wing. So we really did attack the ends. Just to see how they play. Do they play soft? Do they play like, do they are they really physical with the down block? Are they lining up on our tight end or our wing? Are they inside the tight end? So according to those things, that's what we would adjust our play calling. And then we didn't really focus on the backers unless it was a 3-4 because, you have those 3-4 backers that could technically be ends. And then we would also focus though on who made the tackle. Mm-hmm. So like, let's say we ran sweep, but the play side middle linebacker made the play. So we know that he's flying out to go make a play on sweep. That's when you kind of just hit him with the trap then, because, he's vacating, you see the same sweep action, and then you hit him with trap. If the backside guy made the play, then we would probably run like counter crisscross with the double handoff. Just because if he's making the play all the way on the sweep side, then there's no one back there. And so that's what we are looking for. Just, we're playing with the ends pretty much. And I think I talked about that before for sure. But
and
what are you guys looking for?
Truthfully, we're looking outside linebackers mainly because those are the guys we're going to try and pick on the most. As much as we want to take shots downfield, we're really looking for little things on the corners. Like, are they giving us a tell like, hey, they're tired, or we got a nice matchup we like? But pretty much play in, play out, we're going to look at your outside linebackers and how can we kind of get our 5 yards and keep moving downfield.
That makes sense. I mean,
we're throwing the ball to run the ball, basically. Like we're not trying to take shots 15, 20 yards downfield all the time. We're even mesh is a 6-yard throw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like what, a 5-yard pass is just as good as a 5-yard run.
Right.
I think it's just harder to do for us.
Right.
Because we don't practice mesh all the time. Now I really want to practice mesh. I want to do it. Like I keep going back to that thing. Like, okay, let's do mesh. All right, guys, we're gonna run mesh this year. So if you're playing in California, on our huddle highlights, you'll see mesh. Excellent. I think. I don't know. All right. Yeah, something that looks like mesh. Yeah, I mean, I can go back on the clinic site and watch your thing. It's just double out and two guys crossing. They're
Right.
like high five each other as they run by each other, right?
That's right. Super
Yeah.
easy.
How hard is that to coach? I mean, come on.
It's not.
All right. Okay. Let's go to the next question. We've struggled with no huddle spread tonight in the rain. Any tips for this? Screens, hitches were missed all night. Ball recommendations would help too. Coach Murray, where is that? Montana?
Montana.
Okay.
So for us, we're going to rotate a ton of balls in during that game. Like, to be honest with you, we're going to probably go through 10 balls, if not more. We'll probably do like about 3 a quarter. We'll start 3 fresh ones a quarter, and then anyone that is still pretty decent, we'll put it back in a Tupperware container, like a big bin, and let it just dry off. We're going to have someone in charge of the balls, a coach that's specifically in charge of the balls, making sure that they're getting dried off, and we're going to try and exchange balls as often as the officials are going to let us. As far as
tips, the officials just let you guys change balls, because I've actually never changed balls like that in the middle of a game. We've always had like 2 balls, one to kick and then one to play with.
Oh yeah, no, they've let us change as many balls as we want. Well, are you guys using the 25-second clock still, or are you using the 40-second clock?
That's a great question. I should probably know that. I'm pretty sure we're on 25.
Okay, so we switched to the 40-second clock last year, like how they do in college. So like even if you overthrow somebody and it goes out of bounds, they're like, get us a new ball because we're starting that clock almost right away. So they want you to have almost like 4 to 5 every game. So last year they're much more generous about letting us switch out balls. But in years prior, they're like, yeah, you gotta wait till first down. And I'm like, well, that doesn't necessarily make any sense. Like, if we're not going up tempo, like, why can't you switch the ball out? Like, I can hand the ball to you, or my kick you running out.
Sure.
But yeah, up tempo at that point might kind of hurt you a little bit more if you're trying to rotate balls in and out, because the officials are not going to move faster because you want them to. Like.
They're going to go at their own pace, even if it's snail pace.
Right. So, but yeah, I'd say that's kind of the big tips is you got to have a coach. Don't have a kid in charge of your balls. And you're going to have to recondition them once you're done.
So. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've never had that problem. And we're not
Well, you guys don't get rain. Right? You get rain 3 times a year.
You know what? We do get rain because we are in a ag town. So there's, a good amount of rain. There was a really big drought like 2 years ago where we never got rain. But it has rained. It even actually rained maybe a month ago. So that was interesting. And that's where all the fires got started, right? Because it was really hot. Right. And then thunderstorm came through, and it rained at first, and then lightning, and then friggin' just all the West Coast is on fire. Dude, I don't have an answer for that, because honestly, what I think we would do is just have 2 or 3 balls, rotate them through the whole game, and then have one of the coaches, like, that get back coach, he's got a towel, and then he's just, rubbing his balls to make sure they're dry. I mean, that's all I can really think of. But if I did know it was going to rain, we would practice with wet balls the whole week.
Just can't say that with a straight face.
No,
I don't care how old you are.
No, yeah. There's just certain things that just come to mind. You just got to laugh at every single time. But yeah, we would practice with balls being wet all week long if we knew that it was going to rain on Friday. Even if it didn't rain on Friday, no big deal. Like we still would practice with it, just so the quarterbacks get used to handling it. The running backs actually handle the ball pretty often, especially because we do the counter crisscross with the double handoff. So they got to get that going. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. Well, and the ball recommendation, I guess a lot of guys want the synthetic balls in those situations. I found that synthetic balls get a little slippery, like slicker.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So like,
I like the
definitely
natural leather stuff.
leather. Yeah. And
Do you have like a brand that you guys go with?
well, so the state uses Wilson, so that's what we have to go with. A couple years ago, they used Baden. Those were awful.
Yeah, we're required to use Rydell, I think.
Okay.
And like they'll flag us in a playoff game if we have a different ball.
Yep.
Like, wait, for real? A ball? All
Right.
right. But
Whatever.
who knows? Money runs the whole thing anyways, right?
That's right.
Oh, dude, I already know your answer for this next question. It's mesh. Guys,
Oh,
any passing questions, it's mesh.
I guess
cover
I'll have to
one.
come up with something different.
What do you guys like against it? Odd front and 3-3-5 look. Coach Kenton, Arkansas. I answered your question already, right?
Well, yeah, you gave me that. I'll give him a different answer. I mean,
okay, go. That's the Y cross.
I'll give him another answer.
So I was right twice, dude. I'm gonna go to the lottery right now.
Like, if you're going to give me cover one, I'll run Y cross. I'll take my best dude, run him across the field. You could go chase him down.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I'll go.
What's the third answer?
I'll go.
I'll go. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say all goes would probably be my third answer.
Is that the one where you guys read the grass?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could turn into 4 curls or
it could
hitches, whatever the hell you want to call
it.
Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah, and like my definition to the players, hitches and curls are basically the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I tell them too.
Like one kid was like, "Well, what's the difference?" I'm like, "Dude, nothing. Just run your route." I'm like, "You're never going to see it, so it doesn't really matter about it."
Just run to 7 and come back to 5, damn it.
Right. Catch the ball. That's the important.
Yeah. You know what, though, that really irritates me when what receivers I mean, we coach them to come back to the ball, but when they don't, that bugs me. I'm like, dude, especially with the
rarely do.
Yeah, like with the offense we run, I was like, dude, you might get 1 to 2 balls thrown at you a game. We rotate the X's every play. So, like, you might not be you. And if you're the best one, you might get like 3 or 4 because our offensive coordinator will literally go, hey, get over here, because he knows he wants to pass the ball. But then, like, if you're the opposing team, you're like, oh, that kid's in. It might be a pass. But anyways, when they don't come back to that ball, that irritates me so bad. And especially, too, if those kids play basketball as well.
Yep.
I'm like, doesn't your coach tell you to go to the ball? Because if you wait for the ball, they're going to intercept the ball and go put up a layup. Like, God bless America. You guys. That's the way we run it.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating.
Yeah, dude,
it is definitely frustrating. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, let's do the next question.
What do you guys run against cover one? On a 3-3.
Oh, what do we run against cover one? What do we run against cover one? Well, if they're running cover one, our play action stuff doesn't work as well, because they have their eyes on the guy and it's easier to chase. So we will usually run some kind of rub or crossing routes.
Okay.
We do have a couple of those cheating ass plays where, there's a pick. And I mean, dude, it never gets called in high school ever.
Oh.
Like it's ridiculous. So we've definitely thrown that in. That's worked out pretty well. But honestly, we also will put like our best athlete and try to find their weakest corner.
Right.
And just say, hey, go get the ball, throw it up to him, see what happens. And I mean, we'll waste a play with that. Yeah, I mean, for real, like we'll waste a play. If it's an incomplete pass, that's fine. We still have 2 downs, maybe 3, depending on the 4th down spot to go get a first down with whatever the hell we're going to do. But yeah, that's what we do. Maybe, my next answer would definitely be, we're going to try to run mesh.
On the fly. You could just draw it up.
I mean, we could probably draw it in the dirt and run it. Like that might be an option. Like, hey, remember that play we kind of ran? Well, here it is. All right. This one's kind of long from Coach Mick in Florida.
And it's your favorite topic, Pop Warner football.
Dude, I mean, I'm okay with it, but since I used to teach elementary school, like I got a soft spot for little kids. You got to remember, they're little kids. I mean, even high school players, they're still little kids that, like they have the body of a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid. But honestly, like, let's be for real. Our kids are probably hopefully a mature 10-year-old, like their
Right.
attitude. You know?
That's the goal.
Yeah. Okay, so his question goes, all right, guys, I'm at a loss. I coach youth football, 10U and Pop Warner. I have some good-sized kids but not monsters, but they're decent sized. My head coach, DC, and me, the offensive coordinator, are struggling with getting these kids on our D-line and O-line to attack and be aggressive. At times they are aggressive, but we can't push them on either side of the ball. Can someone please give us good advice? It's hard to teach them to be mean when mom and dad are teaching the other. So mom and dad are teaching the kids to be nice. Okay. I mean, dude, they're 10.
Right.
they're below 10. Right? So because 10
Right.
or 10
They're
and
9 and
younger.
10.
Yeah.
9 and 10.
So when I have problems teaching my kids, like even the high school kids, I kind of tell them like once, I don't care like how nice they are outside of the field, but once their foot crosses that line, I kind of want them to be an asshole. Like, I'm not going to lie, like be kind of a jerk and it's okay. You know, like I don't mind when kids are like just talking shit to each other a little bit because like it kind of gets that competitiveness going.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with a little kid, that could be what you do. Not like, you know, teach them to be a jerk, but like find something to get them competitive. You got to figure out what makes them tick. You're going to speak their language, you know, like what motivates the kids and then like what gets them competitive. That might be an easy way to do this, or maybe a way that where you don't seem like a jerk because mom and dad are teaching them to be nice off the field.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, like when I taught elementary school, I used to turn like math games and ELA stuff into something a little competitive, and the kids, no matter how passive or aggressive they were, they would, you know, participate and have fun, and it would be just a lot more engagement. So I don't know, maybe try that.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Like, you got to find out what's something they can relate to, I guess, to being aggressive. Because to them, they're 10 and 9 or 10. Like, they probably don't know what aggressive means.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're telling them get mean, they're thinking, like, I don't know, maybe, like, poking someone in the eye or, you know, doing whatever 9 and 10-year-olds do that's mean. Like, taking their lunch, I don't know. But you got to kind of do a little bit of research and kind of look up, see what is something that they watch, that they see, and kind of throw that comparison out there and say, hey, when you're on the field, this is who you kind of want to be like. Give them a persona almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. Persona. I like that idea.
I don't know how many of them down in Florida are watching some wrestling, but, you know, maybe some, you know, you're looking at professional wrestling and you're like, hey, you want to be like, I don't know any wrestlers right now. Like, so that was a really bad analogy. But
do they have the WWE bubble there? Is that where it is in Florida?
I don't know. The warehouse they're in?
I don't know.
I don't know. But I guess
I'm
that would be my advice.
Mississippi State game.
But yeah, because I guess we, like, if for us, if the kids aren't that aggressive, we truthfully put them somewhere else. Like, quite honestly, like if we have non-aggressive defensive linemen, they're not on the D line very long. Like they'll go through drills,
sure,
because we practice both sides of the ball. But if they're not aggressive offensive linemen, that's fine because we pass block. So I don't need them to be aggressive.
Yeah, dude, I agree.
Like, I need them to be speed bumps.
They're not aggressive. Sorry, guys, you're not playing defense for me at all. Like,
right. It's an aggressive.
It's kind of an aggressive game, and I always tell our defensive coaches and our defensive kids, like, you know, if we make a mistake, the other team puts up 7. That's why defense is more important. Because when you guys make a mistake, it's only second down after that. Like, who cares?
True.
You know, you got two more downs to do whatever the hell you want. But yeah, so like if they're not aggressive, or if they're not smart, like that, 2 things that I think you need. Okay, next question. How many reps do you give up your backup quarterback? Coach Mace out in Colorado is asking that. That's a good question. I honestly probably don't give my backup quarterback enough reps. I'm going to be for real. I think let's just go ratio-wise. Out of every 10 our starting quarterback gets, I think he might get like 3.
Okay. Hey, that's more than I would say. That's probably more than most.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Like, especially in a wing tee. Like,
Mm.
because think about it. Like, not that your quarterback's not the most important person in your offense. Well, he's not. But not that
No.
he's not a vital piece. So, like, I don't know how many wing tee guys. Like, I would be interested to hear what Nate would say.
Yeah, I
Because
would
I
be
don't
too.
think Nate would give his backup quarterback more than one rep. Like, maybe on Thursday he throws him in for a token rep. Say, hey, just in case, take 2
You
snaps.
have
Kneel down.
take this kneel down right here. Here you
Right,
go. Go take.
right. I mean, for us, like, it's a little different as far as like live reps as team and in team. We're not doing a ton of team, but he's getting reps during routes on air. He's
Mhm.
getting reps during 7-on-7. I mean, he's getting reps throughout our practice. And then when we go to our final segment, uh, he's getting about, I don't know, probably about 40 or 50%, just
Holy
because
crap.
we're
Okay.
going so fast.
Hmm.
And we're just rotating guys through at that point. So the offensive lineman and the starting quarterback flip out at the halfway point,
Okay.
and the backups go in. So, but like in our blitz time, he doesn't get any of those reps during the blitz segment. So I guess he gets probably 40% of the reps, I would say.
Yeah, I mean that kind of brought up a good point where you said like you get reps during different group periods. Like we
Right.
have different periods where we have 2 groups, so we need our quarterback and our backup
Right.
quarterback. So he's getting all those reps. Like actual team, I think it's about 10-3.
Yeah.
Not 50% like you. That's crazy. I like it.
Well,
There
but
was something else, though.
it's a weird up tempo kind of like 2-minute style, faster than
Mhm.
2-minute style segment. So I mean, we're just repping things out, and it's just get our starters off field so they can get a blow for a second,
Mhm.
But yeah, and there's a higher chance. I need that guy to be somewhat more prepared than you do.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you need the snaps under center and the handoffs, right? I need
the snaps for sure, but we also need him to know the footwork because
right.
like, depending on which way he's opening in the play, it changes his footwork. So that's one of the things that they need to be really strong in is the footwork. I mean, technically, you can get away with really shitty footwork. But it doesn't look good. Like the
It doesn't
misdirection.
sell the play well.
Exactly, it's just not quite there. I figured out what I was going to ask you. Do you ever like catch your backup quarterbacks? I mean, I've seen film or clips on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever where their quarterbacks taking the rep, but the backup quarterbacks are just kind of like in the back and they're just like kind of ghosting it and like they're taking the same footwork. I'm like, damn, that is sick. I wish my backup quarterback would do shit like that.
So my 4-year, the kid that just graduated in May, his backup would kind of do it every once in a while when I would remind him and be like, hey, you should probably get some mental reps.
Sure.
But then this kid that's a sophomore now, so he's currently the backup. During our kind of summer camp when we were installing, like just throwing some plays out there, was doing that the whole time while he was not up there, just kind of going through the progression. We didn't have a ball or anything, but he was just going through his progression and reads. Well, he was doing that while the starter was out there with like his groups. So like I was pretty excited. I got some goosebumps. I'm like, wow, this kid really wants.
Okay, kid, I see what you're doing, kid. All right, I like it.
Right, like it did not go unnoticed.
Like, yeah, that's good. So, did you tell him that?
No. Like,
okay.
I'm going to. It happened like twice, and then we got cut, and we couldn't do anything.
Okay.
So I was like, I want to see if this is something he continues to do.
Without me saying anything.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you say that's the kid that like when you put a play up, he already asks you questions about it? Yeah. All right.
Well, I'm sure he will.
He's gonna be a winner.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God. All right, let's go to the next one.
Yeah. So Coach Gaio in New York. Anyone know of good stance start drills that outside the box for running backs besides just repping it out? In New York, we're just starting to meet with the kids, no equipment or anything, just technique. But any ideas that are a little more creative than usual?
Okay. So I have always been the kind of, like, I used to coach running backs. And so I always told the kids I hate false steps. I'd actually put a bag behind their heels. So if they stepped on the bag, they would owe me push-ups. And like that way we can get their momentum moving forward, right? However, I have seen and read like studies that have shown that people that actually do tend to false step get off the ball faster. And I was like, wait, what? So I've been teaching something wrong this whole time. And it kind of made me go, damn it. I did a huge disservice. But I mean, like, it wasn't like out before like it hit the Twitterverse. It was actually a really cool article. I mean, it wasn't super a lot faster, but like I think it was like at least half a second, if not maybe a little bit less. But still, it's like, okay, do I really have to put that bag behind their heels, or should I just let them do their thing now? Right. You know, especially like out of the start stance. Anyone know good stance start drills? Like, I think that also depends on what play you're running and what offense you're running too. Because when we were in a spread, like that team that I was with, they were also in like a power eye kind of look. So, you know, sometimes the kid would just, you know, would be down and he'd have his hands like his thumbs were into his hips, like kind of like holstered look. And, you know, he'd have to go downhill really fast, or sometimes he'd take like a counter step and kind of just go with the flow. Like it really wasn't a set stance. There was just footwork at the start. And maybe that's something you focus on, is just the footwork at the start.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Like, I guess, like, to me, stance and starts, they're basics. Like, they're meant to not be creative, right? Like, you think of O-line drills, like stance and start drills for O-line are probably the simplest drills you're going to do. So if you start adding too many things and trying to overcomplicate it, I think you almost lose that technique aspect of it that is kind of crucial, I guess, to stance and starts. I don't know. It's an interesting question, because like stances and starts to me, okay, it's a first step drill, right? Like, I'm looking to a different aiming point. So maybe you throw a couple cones out there and you're saying, okay, for inside zone, this is my aiming point. For outside zone, this is my aiming point. And where I want to take my first 2 steps. Because like for us, we teach a drop step. Kind of going to what you were talking about. Well, that drop step is what sets them up to get them on the path to their zone. So I don't know that there's a great creative drill to do that. They need to do it. Like,
yeah. I mean, now that you say that, like, it makes sense, because I'm actually thinking of like our stance and like step drill. Right. We basically teach them like I think 4 or 5 different first steps. You know, like, are they stepping straight forward? Are they stepping at an angle? Are they stepping flat? Or are they even rotating their shoulders? Because in sweep they rotate 90 degrees. So we got to teach them, you know, pivot the foot. Because some kids will just kind of turn and go like this. I'm like, no, I want your shoulders to turn too. Right. So yeah, like, it's just basic stuff that probably needs to stay as basic without getting as creative as you think. Like, yeah,
right. I mean, like, I guess
something that we do every day for like 3 minutes too. You know, it's not like something you spend all practice on. It's like literally a 2 to 3 minute segment of your individual time.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of the other part, is you should be doing this every day, and this should be something that in 2-3 weeks they should be able to run without you. Right? Like, if you say, hey, guys, go get going, get your stance and starts in, they should be all able to do this without a coach being there. And like, maybe you build up to a drill where, you know, you have a shoot or a couple of shoots like Coach Simpson does, and you have them go to that. But that's, to me, that's not a start. That's, you're finishing the path of the ball then. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer this question. You're going to answer this one for sure. Are these 2 questions, are they connected, or are they different questions right here?
I think it's all one question.
Oh, okay, I got it. It's just separated in like little paragraphs.
Yeah.
All right, here you go, Air Raid Man.
It was a long question.
Yeah, we're installing Y corner and snag today. What are the finer coaching details in teaching the corner route and the snag or spot route? For the corner route, I've heard 4 steps into the corner, 4-step corner or 10-yard corner. Also outside release or straight release to make it look like stick. For the snag, I know when you cross the face of the flat defender, you put a foot in the ground and show hands. But for the actual route, I've heard lazy slant, make it look like stick with outside release, then snap off, stutter at the line, then go. I think I know what we're talking about right now. I think.
So, like, to me, the corner route, it depends on where you are on the field. And I guess the way we teach it has changed depending on how we're teaching routes in general. Like, if we're teaching yards, then we're going to talk about, hey, you need to get to 7 yards. Or I think, truthfully, for a corner, we would go 8 yards. But at 8 yards, we're going then get to the corner. But if you're teaching steps, then you want to talk about it in terms of steps. So I guess that would be kind of the first thing. And then depending on where you are in the field, if you're in the red zone, you want to go to the back pylon for that corner route.
And just dropping shit over here. My bad. Yeah.
I figured. I was like, wow, okay.
Like, oops.
I figured you were learning something new.
Yeah, I was writing it down, but then I started listening. I don't know, dude. Just keep going. I'll stop.
But if you're outside the red zone, you want to go to the front pylon. If you're inside the red zone, you want to go to the back pylon. And then a little tip that I picked up from Ron Mackey from our home clinic series was that what he tells his guys is on the corner route is you want to stare and look at the pylon for 3 steps before you go and turn and look for the ball. And he was like,
on that path.
Yeah, he was like, the reason is because if they start looking for the ball right away, they flatten out, and once you flatten out, that ball just sails over your head.
Sure.
And I was like, that makes sense. And
that does make sense.
Like, I started thinking about it, I was like, dudes that ran that route well. And it's truthfully probably the toughest route I feel like to throw is that corner route. But the dudes that ran it well, they don't really look for the ball until that last second. So
that makes sense.
But as far as
we run our corner out kind of like that. We tell them to aim for the back pylon. Mm-hmm. We always have dudes that snap it and it looks like a 15-yard out. I'm like, what the shit? What's happening over here? But I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna write that shit down right now.
Yeah. So and then the snag. I don't like the stutter step. There was actually there was a game I think last week where they showed a receiver doing the stutter step at the line, and it just slows them down. I think they just go. Like, your quarterback's going to have a pretty good idea. Am I throwing that corner route pretty, like, either that safety rotated over or that corner bailed, and that corner route is going to be closed, and I'm throwing it to the snag. I mean, it's going to happen pretty quick that you don't need to stutter step. You don't need to be lazy in your route. Just get to your spot as in the snag, wherever you're deciding your snag needs to be. I don't really like saying you need to run a lazy slant because then I think all your slants are going to end up being lazy.
Okay.
I mean, I think you're going to kind of do one cross step. We tell our guys to get to about 6 yards. We want you to climb to 6. Once that flat defender crosses your face, and that's kind of where we talked about earlier about reading that outside linebacker. And once that outside linebacker crosses your face, stop, settle up, and get your hands up.
Yeah, like as I'm listening, or as I was reading the question and now listening to you, this is like one of the most popular pass plays we have in our league. Is this Y corner snag, and it usually comes out of trips for us though too. Like the number 3 guy runs an arrow, we get a Y corner, a corner from number 2. And then a snag from the first receiver out there. And they usually, like 80% of the time, it's going to the snag.
Yep.
Like just how it sets up, even in, whatever coverage you're running, it always hits the snag. And it's like, it's a really hard route to cover because, you're literally stopping in between 2 guys. And now which one's got to converge? And for us, with the way we're set up, it usually has to be one of our middle linebackers.
Right.
Because our outside linebacker is going with the arrow. And by that time, though, he's late, and it's like, well, okay, crap. So we've had to come up with some creative ways to try to stop it. But yeah, that's a really tough route concept to cover. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one.
Yeah, I think last offensive one.
Thank God.
Does anybody have any good run plays out of 3-by-1 formation with the running back to the trip side? Coach Newsom from Mississippi.
Well, we do some 3-by-1 stuff, but our 3-by-1 stuff comes from our running back behind the quarterback, and we still have that third guy as our wing, so we can still run belly, and that's probably one of the bigger plays we run out of it. And the number 2 guy actually turns into our option or pitch guy. Like he's just out there for dress, to make it look like something passy. But when we were in spread, one of my favorite things to do was actually run speed option to the trip side.
Okay.
I liked it. I don't know why I liked it so much. We veer blocked the play side, so the quarterback would just have to read the end, and then all of our guys matched up on whoever was on them, and then it turned into 4-on-4 out there with the safety coming down.
Right.
And like, all right, running back, you and a safety, but I can't help you out anymore. Like, you got to make a play.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. That and I really liked speed option. A lot of teams will run. Yeah, that was especially with the running back to the trip side, because it's hard to run. Like, if the running back was away from the trip side, you can do power read pretty effectively from that, because you're spreading the defense out to the trips and you're basically reading the end again. And then it turns into like, a jet, and the quarterback's reading the end. If he goes with the jet, then the quarterback's running Q power.
Right. Well, and I was almost thinking you could still run power read if he's on. So if you got trips right and the running back's to your right, you could still run that power read, and you can throw a bubble out there. I mean, it's an RPO instead of 2 run plays, but I mean, if the end crashes down, that quarterback could still run right and replace it.
That's true. Yeah, that's definitely true.
But no, I like that speed option. Didn't even think about that one, because now you have a bunch of blockers out there. Because a lot of times guys are going to run speed option to the open side, right? They're going to run it to the one receiver side because of the shifting. Where, okay, they shifted, but you also have at least one extra receiver in that space. Where, I don't know. I think that's actually not a bad look. If we ran option.
You're welcome.
Yeah. If we ran option, maybe we'll send this to Garrett.
Oh, well, okay. Actually, I'll pull up some freshman film, because we did do it when I coached freshman high school, or the freshman team.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, run speed option out of spread. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of spread, but I really liked running speed option out of all the looks we had, because it was just fun. It's like, oh, we're running the ball, suckers. Oh man, so I'm looking at the D questions. We don't have a whole lot. That's not the end of the world. Let's see. Let's go with the first one. Coach Cato in Tennessee. Does anyone have any good suggestions on how to defend the spread off against a 4-by-4 defense or 4-4 defense? Open to ideas. I mean, it kind of goes with the next question. Should we do this next question at the same time?
Well, I think the next one just gets more specific.
Okay. Because
I think we're prefacing that the 4-4 and the 4-2-5 to us are pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're running the spread, like, or when you're facing the spread, like your outside overhangs are just going to widen out, and it's going to essentially turn into a 4-2-5.
Right.
So, yeah, dude, like if you're in a 4-4, your 4-4 is turning into a 4-2-5. That's pretty much how it's going to go. I don't know what coverage you run behind that, but technically, again, you could run any coverage out of that. Cover 4, palms, man. I mean, whatever you want. I don't know what you guys run behind that part of it. And then you could also probably like set your back, or set your front to the back, set them away from the back. Do they like to run inside zone, outside zone? Is it more gap scheme type stuff? Like, that's other things that you should probably get to know who the best athletes are, because that's probably what the spread is kind of prefaced against. Get athletes out in space,
right?
And try to match up accordingly. Do you have anything?
Well, and I guess I would be, like the tough part with these questions normally is, well, what is that team trying to do? Like, are they spreading to run or are they spreading to throw?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if they're spreading to throw, then yeah, you got to have a couple different coverages. You got to have one that you're really good at, and then you have to have that change up. And you might even get a curve. You know, you might have to be good, not necessarily even good, but you might have to have 3 possible coverages that you could throw at them.
Sure.
Have, you know, especially if you're going cover 2, cover 4, and then maybe you do a single high man, cover 1. Or if you're cover 3, cover 1, and then you go to a cover 2. But just to give them a couple different looks so that then they're not seeing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And then I guess if they're running the ball, is there a receiver they like to throw, and is it worth covering the other 3? Like,
yeah.
Like, to be honest.
Actually, yeah, you're right, because
You know?
honestly, that's one of the things I track is, you know, which receiver gets the most targets, because that's the one I want to cover.
Right.
You know?
Like, if one dude's the only receiver they throw to and the other 3 are just out there, like, then why put a bunch of bodies out there? Tell your outside linebackers come back in and stop the run.
Yeah. I think that segues good into the next question from Coach Segovia in Arizona. Is the 4-2-5 a good defense against the spread in red zone? I mean, I don't see why not.
Right. Well, and I think it depends on what you do. If you're a prevent cover 4 defense in the red zone, that doesn't work. Right? Like we've all played Madden enough to know that if you go into prevent defense, you're just giving the game away. Like, yeah, so it doesn't work in the red zone, guys. Like, you have 30 yards to work with, right? And they really only need to get 20 and a half of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
20 and 6 inches of that, right? Because that's how like thick the goal stripe is, right?
Right. So you don't have to play anything real deep, and that's truthfully where you want to play man, because even your worst man defender should be able to be in a good position for 15 yards.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, too, like now that I think about it, like as I'm thinking, I mean, any defense is a good defense as long as you know the adjustments that you need to make when you're getting hit hard with, you know, some certain play, or you know how to adjust your defense according to field position, right? So like when we're backed up in the red zone, I tend to go to a little bit more palms coverages because, you know, my my safeties don't have to cover, you know, way back behind them. They don't have a vertical stretch anymore. So we can kind of sit in a more cover 2 kind of look. You know, our corners will back out if they get that, you know, get a read that tells them to, but we're usually in that. And then honestly, like just personally too, I'm usually sending 1 or 2 guys by then. And if that's hurting us, I'm obviously not sending 1 or 2 guys, but like, I really like playing games in our red zone. Cause like, dude, they're already here.
Right.
The chances of them scoring in the red zone, I think like 80%. So like
good.
Pretty good percentage, right? So like, we might as well try to do something to back them up or to, you know, get to the next down, you know? And so like, yeah, I'm usually like stunning or bringing blitz, bringing pressure. Like I'll even bring corners off the edge by that time. It's like, okay, let's try this. And, you know, obviously it's going off of what I have on my scouting report too, but I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've called a play and I'm like, you know what? Let's just try this.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing is a lot of spread teams, once you shorten that field, that's the toughest part for them, right? Like you see kind of across the board, all levels. Once they get to the red zone, they can get to a red zone real easily. And I mean, Washington State last year scored 6 to 9 points and lost or something like that. They could put up a bunch of yards, but in the red zone, they don't have all those options. Like they can't stretch you vertically, like you were saying. Yeah. So you're taking a lot of plays out of their playbook if they're a team that just loves throwing the ball. Like you have to be aware of things that they can do, right? Like if they're a team that runs that corner play that we were just talking about, like, yeah, I got to be able to protect against that snag route, and I got to protect against the corner. And but I mean, I don't know. I think the defense is almost in a better situation against the spread, especially
there's just less field to cover.
Right.
There's less field to cover.
There's less open grass, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
all right.
So
go ahead. You get the next one.
Okay. So what does your call sheet look like on game day, or how do you determine what to call and when? The system I have isn't working, and that's Coach Brower in Utah.
What is my call sheet?
Right. I know you talked about it a little bit before about kind of how you break stuff down and whatnot. But
yeah.
I don't know that we've ever actually talked about your call sheet. Like we really dove into.
Do I gotta like
find of
Gonzalez? I don't know if I can find it right now.
But what goes into your call sheet?
So there's just simple reports that I like kind of copy and paste on one side of the call sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't even look at that because I've already looked at it. And sometimes the table from Huddle doesn't format well with whatever the hell I'm using.
Okay.
So I'll actually type it in myself, and when I do that, like it kind of like ingrains into me, like, okay, cool, this is what they like during these plays. But I give my call sheet to all the defensive coaches that are on staff for that night. And one of them's in the box, and I think I told you guys already that he will tell me the top 2 or 3 plays for that down and distance. Mm-hmm. And then there's another column that goes with the field too. So he's like, all right, down and distance, we're in the red zone, down and distance, these are top 3. I'm like, okay, so as when the whistle's over, he's already telling me that. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then once that happens, I just kind of tell everyone, shut up from there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just stop. That's all I need to know. All right. Because I'm not looking at it the whole time. Like I'm paying attention to the flow of the game too. Mm-hmm. So that's what's on one side of my call sheet. The other side of my call sheet is, like our stuff. I have a column where I, tell myself what I'm going to run in down and distance formations and on the hashes. That worked out for me pretty well. And then I also have just like a section where I like remind myself, okay, front, if I'm bringing a blitz, these are the blitzes for the week. And then these are the coverages that go with it. I always have like a 2-minute section for myself too, mm-hmm. of what I would call in 2-minute situations, or substitution packages. Like I'll just call out, like screamers. So that means like the fast guys are on the field.
Okay.
Not like we're getting rid of more linemen. We already have 3 on the field, which is, we have 8, but now those linemen are my linebackers are basically turning into the linemen, and I'm bringing in fast linebackers or, DBs that can handle their business.
Right.
So that's what basically goes on my call sheet. I don't even know if I have it, because honestly, I'm not going to lie. Every year I add and subtract everything, or mm-hmm. add and subtract things. Like sometimes I'm like, I didn't really use this. So out it goes. But yeah, that's what usually goes on my call sheet, and it works pretty well for me. But you kind of have to go with how your mind thinks too. You know what I mean? Because what's good for me might not be good for you. Mm-hmm. Like I've seen so many other coaches' call sheets, and I'm like, I like this, I don't like that, I don't understand why this is here. If I don't understand it and I can't actually talk to you about it, like it just doesn't make sense to me, then I'm not going to use it. Just kind of go based off of what you see, and then kind of make it your own. That's how I handle it. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad answer, but that's how it goes.
I don't know. I feel like that's pretty good. And I mean, for offensively, it's not really that different. I mean, every year I've had a different looking call sheet. Like I had one of our youth coaches reach out to me and like, hey, do you have a offense call sheet that you could give me? And I was like, this is my 4th year. I was like, I have 6 of them. Like, which one do you want? Like, I'll give you all of them. You use whatever you want. Uh-huh. Like, he's like, you didn't take the plays off. I'm like, yeah, dude, it doesn't really matter. Like,
yeah.
You could sell them if you want. Like, make a buck. Like, good for you. I don't think anyone's really going to care.
Yeah. Here's all my stuff.
Right. So I know the 5 years I was the DC for a JV team. I didn't have a call sheet at all, but we weren't doing anything too crazy. I mean, it was also a JV team. So I think it also depends on your level. Like, don't overthink it. I think sometimes guys, because like I have some peewee coaches that have like these huge call sheets. They're like they want that Andy Reid menu. And I'm like, dude,
you're Pee-wee. No offense. You're Pee-wee. Come on, dude. Carry like 3 things.
Right. Like, you're handing the ball off to the big kid that's back there. Like, he's a monster. That's not going to grow after 8th grade. I get that. I've made my peace, but like, it's okay.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So I'm looking at my call sheet. Like, I think this is one from the last game, and I simplified it so much just because of what we were going with. But like, I have a left hash call, a middle call, and a right hash call.
Okay.
Fronts, like, and it goes front stunt coverage for left hash, middle front stunt coverage, right hash front stunt coverage. So I know, what numbers to call for our front, and it just comes like that. And I would look up or look down from it. Sometimes, obviously as you call it, it's like, oh, you haven't memorized, just call it.
Right.
Yeah, like all those, the tables from Huddle that from the reports that I'm looking at, they're there or they're on the backside.
Okay. And are you guys using wristbands for defense?
No, we don't. We just this year I kind of want to have each position coach signal in. Like, I just want to say the play in my mic and have the position coach call it out. And I think I can get away with that because I got 2 guys that know the system. So yeah, that way I can just kind of chill. I don't want to have to do all this and like think and like, no, screw that, dude. I got this. You guys do that. I'll do this. So yeah, that's how it goes. Screw it. When you're the head coach, you get to try to find ways to make your life easier, right?
That's the hope, right?
Yeah, that's the hope. Hopefully you got guys good enough where you're like, okay, I can trust you. All right, next question from Coach Gators out in Texas. What are the pros and cons of running a 5-2 defense? I think this kind of goes back to the first question, right? Because like a 4-4 turns into a 4-2, a 5-2 can turn into a 3-4.
Yep. Just walk those
depending on. Yeah, I mean our 3-4. Yeah, our 3-4 basically turns into a 5-2.
Right. I mean our 4-2-5 turns into a 5-2 at points.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. Like, when I was in high school, we ran a 5-2, and we ran the 5-2 because we played a lot of running teams. Like, like back then in 2002, there wasn't very much spread or throwing going on. Everyone was running I formation, fucking double wing, ridiculous shit, right? And those are still good offenses, but we were in a 5-2. The reason why we were in a 3-4 is because I wanted more like linebacker DB types on the field. Like, my 2 outside linebackers could technically be really big ass safeties. But like, I have 2 safeties that are good. So it's like, all right, cool. Like, where do I put these guys? Like, I want to find the best athletes that I can get on the field. What defense would be most beneficial for these guys? You know what I mean? Like, that's honestly, that's how I based what our defense was. Like, I mean, people are like, oh, well, 4-2-5 is really good. It is really good. And my argument with that right now is, though, like, I have 2 or 3 good D linemen. And when I mean good, I mean like moderately good. like they'll get the job done. Do I have any like freaking monsters? No, I don't. Our biggest D lineman was probably like 5'11", and he might weigh 225. That was our biggest D lineman. So like, that ain't no monster playing D line. You know what I mean? Like, that's a linebacker in most friggin' places. So like, that's how we determined that. But pros and cons of running the 4-5-2. I think pros is like, you should be pretty stout against the run. You can slant any way you want. There's a lot of really good inside stunts that you can do. And then obviously, if you can bring guys off the edge with those linebackers, I like doing that in our 3-4s, just bringing guys off the edge and running a 3-man twist that messes with the center guard stuff if they're not coached very well, or sometimes it just gives them something else to look at. You know what I mean? So that usually helps out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, you come up, like, we're a spread team, obviously. You come up with a 5-2, that's great, because you can only drop 5, or you can only drop at most 6.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to take my chances with that. But, yeah, it depends on what you're up against and what your kids are doing. Like, I guess that's really where the pros and cons of anything come in. Like, I don't run wing T because I don't have kids that I could get out and sell wing tee to. Like,
well, trust me, coming back, they came from a spread. The wing tee was a hard sell my first year.
right. I mean, especially if we didn't come out and have success right away, they would be like, yeah, this is stupid. Like, why is one kid getting the ball or 3 kids getting the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so being spread, I can get, 5, 6, 7 kids the ball pretty consistently. And it's no different with the defense. Like, if I had a bunch of D linemen, which that's kind of what we do, that's why we go 4-2 instead of a 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no different than you guys. Like, I don't know. Like, for a 5-2 to work, I guess you got to have some athletic linemen. But I think you can say those athletic linemen would have been linebackers. Would have been your, basically you take your outside linebackers, you move them to the middle. You take your middle linebackers, you move them down, right? Like, I don't know. It depends on what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Looking at any of these, like, should I switch my scheme up? Well, why isn't your scheme working? I guess would be my big question. Because we're halfway through most of these guys' seasons. Are you switching because it's not working and you think this will put your kids in a better position? Well, I wouldn't tell them, hey, we're switching, wholesale changing. Maybe you throw in a package and call it, we're Tigers. So you call it your Tiger package. Mm-hmm. And just get them to buy into that and say, nope, we're running Tiger package the rest of the year because it works. But I'm not, at this point of the year, I'm not wholesale changing anything.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what helped me figure out what the hell I wanted to do with the defense was I created a list of the teams we're playing, the offense they run.
Yeah.
Like, what fits well with that? What type of kids do I have that would, probably defend it at the best we probably could? And, like, that's why I went with the 3-4.
Yeah.
Just, okay. Like, I think 70% of the teams were spread.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if that's the case for me, in my mind, it's 3-4 or 4-2.
Right.
But then it came down to, okay, who's playing the line? And then who are my athletes? You know what I mean? Like, you can have a D lineman that's not an athlete. He's just a big, bruising lineman. But, that's the athlete part is what kicked in. I was like, all right, I got to put the best athletes I can on the field, and a lot of them.
Yes.
That's how we're going to stop these fucking things. That's how it's going to happen. Like, that's it. So, yeah. All right, next one.
Struggling to read and fill quick. Need some linebacker drills for this. Anything helps. Coach Mendez in Michigan.
Okay, so we always do a read and react drill. Like, that's part of our EDDs, the everyday drills.
Mm-hmm.
Since I was coaching both the outside linebackers and the middle linebackers at the same time, what I would do is, like, I'd have, our Mike and our Will, and then our backup Mike and Will behind him. We didn't have really a third guy. It was just their backup. So it was 4 guys. And then all the other linebackers would be linemen. And we would just, show them down blocking and pulling. And we'd walk through it at first just to make sure we get our steps right and, like, who's filling and how they're filling, what shoulder to take stuff on with. But, like, I would be behind our linebackers, and it took a little while because I would hand signal what each guy was doing. Mm-hmm. So, like, down block, pull, whatever, right? And I point at them, and after a week or two, they understood what I was saying. So, like, we would, like I said, walk through it. When our linebackers see down block, one would fill, one would come over the top because it was usually pull. Like, we did that drill every single day. It wasn't even a question. We started with stance. The stance stuff took like a minute because we were just so fast at it now by that time, especially towards the end of the year. Our read and react drill, like I said, it was every single day for at least 5 to 6 minutes in our individual time, like, at the very least. And then because I had both, I would do the same thing with our outside linebackers, but then they would be reading a tackle or a tight end, and they would react according to what they saw. So, like, that's why we only did like 5 or 6 minutes, because each group needed 5 or 6 minutes. If it was, if I was just an outside linebacker coach and a middle guys, then it would obviously go faster.
Right.
So that's how we would do it.
Yeah. And for linebacker drills, there's one video from, I think, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Are they doing it under the chute? Pretty much the same thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But they have guys that are linemen with, I think they have a shield, so they could at least come up and have a little bit of contact.
Yeah.
but it's on YouTube. Hopefully, we can get the link in there. I don't know how that legally works, but I'm sure it's in YouTube, and we could find it, or you could search up Kansas City Chiefs linebacker drills, and that's our everyday drill. And our linebacker coach started it last year, and it is probably his favorite thing to do with them. And yeah, it takes about not even 5 minutes, because I think we only have 5-6 linebackers at most, but it's just getting them to see the things that they're going to possibly see. And again, it's making sure that they're seeing stuff they're going to see in the game, not just doing drills to do drills.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you're right. Because honestly, if we were seeing if we were holding an offense that never pulled, why would I show them? Like, I'm not going to, I'm going to focus on that the week. I might give that to them on Monday just so they have that skill. But like throughout the rest of the week, we're like reading which way the guy's stepping. Right. You know, is he stepping right to the left, or is he stepping back to like for a pass? You know what I mean? If the offense does not, down block and pull, why do that for the week? I mean, they might, but that's why I showed that to them on Monday.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing would be, like, if they're struggling to read, back them up a little bit, so that then if they read a little bit slower, they're not as late to the party. And by late, I mean the dude's running by them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because sometimes it's like the fill quick is kind of the other part. Like, it's great if they're filling quick, but if they're filling quick to the wrong spot, what difference does it make?
Yeah, you might as well be next to coach.
Right.
Not playing.
Right.
Oh, man.
All right.
Okay.
Next one. I'm going against a team Saturday that runs a shotgun double wing.
Good luck.
They don't throw the ball but once per game. Do you guys think I need to stay in a 4-2-5 with one safety or go too high? Coach Gators out in Texas.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why he's asking the 5-2 question.
That could be.
Yeah.
Which now makes more sense. Again, if we get more information from questions, it makes answering them better.
Yeah. So I'm curious to what kind of shotgun double wing, because if it's Tim Murphy stuff, then it's really good. Depending on, I don't know if you guys know who Tim Murphy is, but he's a coach out here in California. He's gone through a bunch of Glazier clinics. They play DLSL every year. They play him pretty well, but they basically run a shotgun double wing. And I've watched it. It's really tough. I'm glad I don't have to go up against that at all. Yeah, I mean, technically you could stay in a 4-2-5, but if they're running the ball, I would bring more guys into the box. So your 4-2-5 turns into a 4-4. I would probably have a call where the front switches, and that way they're not constantly seeing the same look every single time. When you have that that front switch, I wouldn't change a lot of rules for the guys either, so they have to learn something brand new. Teach it to them for something that they're familiar with already. I mean, because obviously looking at the 5-2 question that you just asked, Coach, like you're probably just going to move a guy down and then maybe shift somebody over and create that 5-2 with a 4-2-5. Right. But then again, too, like I would also have a safety come down into the box, so it turns into like a 5-3 if that's what you're really getting. And depending on whether they pull or not, I don't know. Because then if you have pullers, now you have reads. Or is there like their fullback take you to the ball, 90% of the time? Is that a key? Like that's something that you should probably, look at Huddle for and find out, because that's pretty important. I would probably roll with one safety. And if I did roll with too high, one of them knew that they were rolling down into the box to make it a 8-man front.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, so this is double tight, double wing? Is that what?
That's what that shotgun double wing is. That's what usually that is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if they're not throwing but once a game, you take your best corner and you stick them back there at safety, because normally your safety is a dude that likes to come up and hit a little, right? So I'll take my safety down, bring him in the box like you were talking about. But, yeah, I'm going to put as many dudes that don't mind contact. So this might be a week where you get a couple extra linemen, a couple extra linebackers get in the game.
For sure. That'd be
like, I don't know that I'd even have a name for it. It'd just be some sort of bastardized version of something. Like that amoeba defense we talked about last week, where there's nobody with a hand in the ground.
Oh, okay.
We'd be doing a lot of slanting and a lot of dudes that like contact. That we're going to try and make that O-line guess where we're going to be, and we're going to say, hey, you got to follow your rules to a T. And if you follow your rules, maybe you'll get lucky. But we're going to always have a hat for a hat. We're going to have bodies to the ball. That's our goal. We're going to bring bodies to the ball. And then we're going to hammer it home that those backside guys can't just leave.
Well, you know what else I was thinking too? Like, you got to think of who's getting the ball.
Right.
Who's their dude? Who do they like to run behind too? And then do they flip their line with that as well?
Right.
That could potentially tell you where the ball's going already.
Right.
You know, just because like I was thinking about our offense, we do flip our line. So you know that if you're paying attention, one side we're going to run, you know, sweep, power, blah, blah, all that stuff. And the other side, the only thing you're going to get on that side is belly and, you know, maybe jet. You know, like, so if I hope no one's watching. I don't know. I hope they don't watch.
I email every day all the people.
Like, who does Everett Alvarez play? Okay, coaches, check this out. This is the bullshit that this guy says, so pay attention. But yeah, like, I would pay attention to stuff like that too. Like, what are their favorite plays? Who's getting the ball? Who are they running behind the most? Because that's probably going to be pretty important. And if they're pretty balanced, then you're going to have to stay balanced.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's no way around that. Last one?
Yeah, last one.
All right, I'm used to a 3-4 defense. At my new school, the linebackers don't cover well. That sucks. If the strong side outside linebacker is playing a wide 9 and is always blitzing, should I just call it a 3-4 or 4-3? Coach Mole out in California. No, I wouldn't. No. I mean, just because, you know, you could always have, like, you know, someone going in a 3-4. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be that outside linebacker, but maybe, like, in your particular case, Coach, it is that outside linebacker. But that doesn't mean you're in a 3 or 4-3. Does it? I don't think so, right? What do you think?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you start throwing that kid an end, he might say, well, screw you, I'm not playing.
Yeah, you know, I've had that. We've had
I'm a linebacker, coach.
Yes.
Like, but you're slow, you can't read a guard, and you can't move in space. You're a defensive lineman.
Dude, yeah, we created a name. I don't remember what we called him, but we had a guy, thought he was a linebacker, but we wanted him to come off the edge. And we had to change the name of that particular, you know, position because he didn't want to be called a DN. And I'm like, well, we kind of tricked him.
Right.
We called it different. And he's like, oh, okay. I was like, well, what do you want me to do? We just want you to go straight flying off the edge this week. Okay, cool. But if we told him to do that at the end, like, nope, not a chance.
Yeah, screw you, coach.
Linemen are fat. I'm like, no, they're not. But all right, fine.
You clearly don't watch our defense.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
Why you don't play?
Yeah, but I don't know, you know, if you would call it a 3-4 or 4-3. I mean, honestly, like, any defense can shift into something very easily just by sliding gaps and moving guys over.
Because, yeah, the 4-2 rolls into a 4-3 real nicely. I mean, like, I don't know. The 4-4 goes into a 3-3. I don't know. Like, to me, defenses are very fluid.
Yeah, that's the best part about it. We can move before the ball is snapped, and you know, we can, you know, that's one of the best advantages that we have. And since they don't cover well, I mean, maybe you, like, as a staff, you guys talk about that and figure out ways to have them cover well. My guys didn't cover very well at first either until I started, you know, visually breaking down. You know, I figured out how they learned things, and I told, like, in my coaching language, it wasn't what they could understand. I had to, you know, give it to them in some type of language they would understand. So, like, let's say, for example, like, we were seeing a spread 2x2. I'd always tell them, like, if number 1 goes away, you know, like, something's coming back inside, but it just didn't register with some of the kids. And then one of the kids, I can't remember what the hell he rhymed. He's like, if 2's leaving, something's coming back. I'm like, yeah, exactly. And so then one of the other, you know, knuckleheads is like, is that what you've been talking about? I'm like, yes. Fuck.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So like sometimes, you just gotta, tell them in a way that they understand.
Right.
But two, we've talked about this before, but like, where does the coverage drill show up in film?
Right.
And then it's easier for them to relate. So like we were always, or even in practice too,
Mm-hmm.
because we would practice, against our scout or even against our first O, our defense would be out there, and we'd still use the same concepts and rules. And when we had a drill where there's a tight end running across the middle, and our drills, our linebacker, he takes his read step and he goes to his drop, but we don't cover grass technically. We look for routes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we saw a route coming into that, I told him to zone turn, and that was our part of our individual drill, zone turn and try to catch it on the inside, right? And so he saw it in our scout offense, ran a play, and it was the exact drill we ran. He's like, "Coach, that was the drill we did today." I was like, "Yes, you connected A and B and you brought them together, you lovely child." Like, Jesus Christ, it only took you 10 weeks, but you did it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's progress. Maybe, hopefully, as a senior this year, he's got some pieces in there now. I don't know.
But yeah, that's why. I mean, the other thing for me is you take the D linemen and you condense them down, and then you take your linebackers and you move them up, and you say, no, those ends, no, we're calling those linebackers, and then throw in a couple more DBs,
Mm-hmm.
like and like you have with your screamer package,
Mm-hmm.
and you just make it a package,
Yeah.
If you want to do something like that, especially in a situation that you needed to cover better, if you have linebackers that don't cover well, but linebackers inherently don't cover well, like kind of their thing.
If your linebackers don't cover well and you need them to, move the linebackers to line and move your DBs to linebacker, and then find better DBs,
right?
Or find other DBs. Like we moved last year. I moved 2 safeties to play Mike and to play our outside linebacker spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's honestly though too, like that's where they're gonna go play in college. Like they're not safeties in college. They're linebackers in college just because of their build.
Yeah.
So you can sell them with that too if that's the problem.
Right.
Okay. 4 more questions. Program questions.
Right. We gotta get you to watch 49ers.
I know. I'm not even checking the score yet, and I'm scared. But they're playing the Giants. How bad could it be? All right. So I need help with toughness. Our boys are so soft. Any ideas and tips to feel like we've tried everything? Coach Sparks out in West Virginia.
Okay. So I don't know much about West Virginia and the cultures in West Virginia, but quite honestly, if your school isn't a school that's culturally tough, your boys are not going to be tough kids. Like, and you're not going to be able to hang your hat on being a tough everyday group. I think that you can build their confidence, and you can get them in positions with how they read and handle situations, and make them feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations. But as far as like being those grinders and kind of punch you in the mouth type kids, if they're not that, you're not going to create that. Yeah. So it's almost kind of get off that soapbox and find out what they are, because or else they're just going to fake it, and you're going to truthfully just get more frustrated.
Yeah, you're just going to get pissed because they're not turning into what you want them to.
Right.
And sometimes you're right. Like you have to go with what you got. There's one school around here in particular where like their coaches is always talking about toughness and everything. And honestly, they come from an area like they need to be. And that's what that kid is. You know what I mean? Like their parents are working in the fields, they're working in the fields. And like he always talks about, the school pride. And honestly, that school pride is built into the school culture. Like that's probably the best part about that school. And it's not mine because our culture is all jacked up. I ain't gonna lie. But like it comes from the top, and I'm not even talking about the football coach. I'm talking about the principal and the admin. Like that is totally filtered down into the staff and the students. Like they have a built-in expectation just because of the type of kid that they know that they have. And if you're not getting that, then you're not gonna. If you're not getting that from the admin, you're not gonna get that from the kids.
Right.
Like I kind of agree with you wholeheartedly on that one.
So Like telling them that they need to be tougher, that's great, but it's just you're going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
So if that's something you want, you gotta go to a new school.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a Pop Warner question, but honestly, this could like be in high school, college, and professional, right? So this person, Coach Zabawa in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Pop Warner coach, and he has an assistant who is way too hard on his own kid and is a constant disruption to the team by going against the flow. To top it off, his son bailed on the team in the fourth quarter of the game to go play in a baseball tournament. How would you handle that?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Bye.
Honestly, you still got to deal with the dad.
Well, he's an assistant coach.
But that's what I mean. He's still on your staff. So like,
not anymore. I mean, no offense. Like, I'm not trying to say my way is the only way. Like, that's what I tell my coaches too. I'm like, guys, if you have an idea, let's run it past it. We'll work through it. If it sucks, then we're going to scrap it. So you're going to have to sell me. And if I like it, then we'll adopt some part of it or the whole thing, you know? But if this guy or this person is just constantly going against everything you're saying, everything like you want to build the team towards, there's a disruptive, you know, kid to go along with it. Honestly, you got to come. The way I see it is, you know, it's a cancer.
Yep.
What do doctors do with cancer? They treat it with chemo or they cut it out. But either way, they're trying to get rid of it.
Right.
You know? So, like, I mean, if the situation comes up, I would honestly talk to him, you know, have a one-on-one conversation first and, you know, talk through it. And if it doesn't change, then, you know, you had your conversation about it and tell him if this doesn't change, then we can't continue, you know, to have you on staff.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it.
No, I agree with you. And for me, this is as a high school coach, the number one reason I don't have parents volunteer or get hired onto my staff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one, like they're, as much as they want to be there for the whole team, their kids, if their kids are on our team, they're going to be there for their kid first. Like, no matter what they say. Like, and I get it. I have three kids, and I want to see them succeed and do the best they can. But like in the team environment, that's not how it works. I guess to deal with the kid that bailed on the team in the fourth quarter, yeah, I think there's a lot more that is going on with that. And I think the kid probably just was like, yeah, I'm done with whatever this is. And baseball is probably way more fun because his dad probably doesn't coach him in baseball, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, you also too think about like that. The kid, is it the kid bailing or like the parents are telling him, "Okay, let's go"? You know,
but it's the dad that coaches.
Yeah, which is weird, right? So if the
Right.
dad coaches, so does the kid think it's more fun to go play baseball because his dad's not there? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay.
So that would be kind of my guess. That's the reason he left. He was like, baseball's fun. This is not. I mean, this is Pop Warner football.
Mhm.
So if it's not fun and I'm a kid, why am I doing this? And I even think about that in high school. Like, hey, if it's not fun, it's really hard to get them motivated to do it.
Yep.
Like, there's only a couple things that motivate these kids to do stuff. And if it's not very fun or exciting to do, they're
Why
not
do
going to do it.
Yeah, why do it?
So
I was thinking about, you said you don't have a parent on staff. I do. But honestly, like, he came and we talked beforehand. We talked about, you know, his son being on the team and all this stuff. And I also did know that he had a really good coaching reputation before his son was even born.
right.
He was coaching high school football when I was in high school. So like he's
Okay.
I mean, he's not old, but you know, he's, you know, an older gentleman. But honestly, like I think you got to kind of vet really well. And he's really done a good job of coaching his group and not coaching his kid.
Yeah.
So he's never been his kid's position group coach. He's not gonna be.
Right.
He doesn't coach his own kid. He coaches the kids that he is supposed to, and he does a really good job of, you know, separating it. You know, he might obviously talk to his son, you know, during the course of practice. That's unavoidable for sure. But he's he's actually been one of the guys that I get to lean on the most. Like he's come through a lot, and he was actually going to not coach this year because he was trying to take care of his family more. Then he found out that some of our coaches one is leaving because he got a job out in Hawaii. Like, Jesus Christ, you lucky son of a bitch. And it happens to be my brother too. Like, you jerk. Yeah. So my brother's leaving because he got a job out in Hawaii, and I'm like, bro, okay, well, maybe we all move out there.
You're right.
Yeah. But another one, he's leaving because he's just worried about COVID.
Yeah.
You know, and he's an older man too, and he didn't want to like have to worry about his health risk or risking his family's health. And he's like, I'm not gonna do it this year. And he was one of the ones I leaned on a lot for sure because he was our O-line coach. But the guy that I'm talking about, he heard about that. He's like, you're losing 2? And I'm like, yeah, dude, it kind of sucks. He's like, I'll come back then. And I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah, I'll definitely come back and make sure we have the guys that we need, because I know there's not a whole lot of guys that you can trust. I'm like, cool. I appreciate that, my man. So yeah, he's a good job.
No, and I would agree with that. Like, I've coached with a couple guys that have coached their sons, and like if they have prior experience in coaching high school ball, you know, coaching at that level or higher, and they're not coaching their kids specifically, I think that's the way where you can kind of alleviate a lot of that tension, that stress. Like if their kid's a receiver and you put them in charge of receivers, I think you're asking for a lot of headaches.
Yeah, true that. I'm out.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, I think you're spot on though. Like you definitely have to. There's a lot more that's going to go in that interview than just, hey, what do you know? What's this? Give me some, how to deal with certain situations.
Since you have a kid on the team,
right?
Okay, I'm gonna flip these last two because I like the second to last one a little bit better. No offense. Like,
okay. Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know where we're gonna put this one. Yeah. So do you have install rules for coaching up the swinging gate from Jeffrey O'Brien?
Right. We talked about this, and both of us have ran it at different points.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have like hard and fast rules? Like I have some general rules, but nothing.
Honestly, no. Like, but out of the swinging gate, I think we do 3 plays, and I either hold up a 1, 2, or 3.
Yep.
And that's it. And it's always the same way too. Like we always have our lineman on the left. We never have our lineman on the right.
Right.
Our X receiver, he's always off the ball.
Yep.
To make sure that the guy snapping the ball is eligible.
Right.
Our linemen never move unless it's 1, because that's our screen.
Okay.
Sitting up. But if it's 2 or 3, they just kind of do this. They get to play off, like real. Like they just look around like dumb.
Protect yourself.
Yeah, okay. Pretty much. Right? Yeah, just to make sure you don't get hurt, right?
Right.
And then even the eligible man at the end, he barely moves too. Like we don't even send him on a route most of the time because that's not part of 1, 2, or 3.
Right.
So 1, 2, or 3 is 1 is our screen, 2 the option. We run option out of it. So we have the center, the quarterback, and the running back with him. And then 3 would be our pass play, where our center runs like a 10-yard out. The X receiver runs a fade. The running back comes to go block for the quarterback.
Right.
And you're either throwing the out or you're running the ball.
Yep.
Like that's
never
really it.
Like just
he's never thrown the fade. Nope.
The clear out.
Yeah, just clear out for the out.
Right.
That's all we do. Like there's really no install rules that we have. It's just, okay, you guys line up here, you line up right there. You're just getting ready for the screen, and that's it. And that's 1. You're like, okay. It's pretty simple. Yeah. What do you do anything different?
We'd have a 4th play, and that we really tried. It never worked. It was a shitty play, and that was actually our sign. Would be like our special teams coach would look like he was taking a dump, and it was because it was the shitty play.
Okay.
Because he's like, I like it, and I'm like, it's not going to work.
But it's just crap.
Right. And we looked at it, and the scout team blew it up. And, I mean, it was a rough-looking scout team. It was, like, on a Monday. And so we had our walking wounded. And so it was all the scout team players that didn't play on Friday that weren't going to play at all during the season. And they were blowing it up. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, this is the real shitty play for sure.
Right. Like, we can't put this in.
Yeah.
So it was like a jet motion, and he'd hand off the jet, and then that kid would flip it, and we would have 2 receivers out wide
Okay.
because our center at the time wasn't capable of catching the ball.
Oh yeah, we our center turns into like one of our running backs. Like we find a running back that can snap the
Right.
ball and catch. Like that's really basically what it turns into.
Yeah. So we had 2 receivers out there, and one runs the out, one runs the corner. And so he'd get the jet, and like all the kids just flew up, and it was awful. But
You know
yeah,
what? I want to try this shitty fourth play just to see if I can make it work.
yeah. And then last year I got a new special teams coach, and he's like, "Well, I want to do a shovel, so I want that jet motion, and then that kid to come up in that little alley, and we're going to run speed option with the running back and quarterback, and then we're going to pretty much whoever attacks you, you kind of have to read and either shovel this way or flip to the speed option."
Oh God.
And I was like, "We're going to just kick it," and we're done with that.
It's a 4th and 5. We're kicking now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super funny. All right, let's do this last question.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you, speaking of special teams, right? How
Yep.
do you implement special teams practice, especially extra point, field goal, without killing practice momentum? We have some great high energy practices spoiled by our lackluster kicking game. In years, we've had really solid kickers and snappers, and this hasn't been much of an issue. Any good high energy drills you recommend?
So,
Go for it.
Drill wise, not really. I mean, we fit it into that last segment of our practice where we'll go and like once we get to the end, we score, we kick it. We try to do it on a kind of in the middle of practice is where our special teams is. We'll either do it in the middle or at the beginning of our practice plan, just so it basically doesn't kill our practice. But I guess we'll throw a couple drills, but I don't know. It's just stuff that we do in that spot. Like for kickoff, we have a kickoff gauntlet that we'll do. For punt, we have a couple punt drills that we do and we work on. So I don't know. I don't have anything that's really that great that keeps the energy up per se. Like, and plus it's only a 10-minute segment. Like we're in, we're out, and then we're back off to defense or offense.
Okay. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not exactly the same thing. So right after warm up, which is like 5-10 minutes, we go right into special teams and start practice that way. I usually give my special teams coach 15 to 20 minutes of a period. And honestly, like it's that part of practice though, where you're right, it kind of lulls.
Mm-hmm.
However, you kind of got to get on your assistant coaches to help make it more exciting too. Because if there's one guy talking special teams, then the kids just kind of go, oh, okay. Yep. But you got to kind of get a little excited about it. You got to sell it. You know what I mean? Like that's part of your job. You got to make sure the kids are into it. And honestly though, too, we have our O-line and our D-line. The only special teams that they're on is extra point or field goal. So they're off. It gives the O-line, 15 to 20 more minutes of individual time too. Mm-hmm. And, that's super helpful, especially with, the amount of blocking schemes that we have.
Right.
But even for you guys, you could use it for, your pass blocking stuff for sure. Right. I mean, I've never heard of an O-line coach going, no, I don't want an extra 15 to 20 minutes. What is this? Right. No, like they always want their guys, which is great.
Exactly.
Right. When we do special teams, like I'm always out. I'm out there as much as I can be because sometimes I got to deal with some, freaking bureaucratic crap. Being the head coach, you got to talk to somebody or deal with some kids' disciplinary crap. But I'm trying to be out there to keep the kids focused and keep them on track and keep the energy up. You know what I mean? Like I'll talk to the punt returners and be like, I bet you won't catch this. You won't catch this. Oh God, that's too high. And it kind of gets fun for them, you know? Right. So they think they're all bad when they catch them. Like, bro, that's your job. You should catch this shit. So whatever. But also too, I've started to do special teams during team period. Like, let's say, because we track what we're doing on offense and defense. So it's first down, second down, third down. If the offense doesn't get that third down, punt team, let's go. So even if we don't actually punt the ball, we at least get the rotation in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Count, so the kids always have to be like thinking about, all right, shit, punt, all right, I'm on punt, like, yeah. And then if the team doesn't make it, someone's doing push-ups.
Right.
I don't like to send them on a run because then we got to wait for them to come back.
Yep.
You know, so we always just be doing push-ups. And honestly too, like this year with kickoff, I wanted to do a lot of on-siding, so I think that'll be fun and exciting.
Right.
So I think, you know, that's going to keep the engagement and the energy up too. Like, are we on-siding? We'll see, buddy. We'll see. Because yeah, it just looks like fun. And honestly, did you see that onside kick that the Cowboys pulled off?
Yep.
That was ridiculous. But if people don't pay attention to high school football, you should, because Pulaski Academy does that type of onside kick like every time. I think they call it a copter or something like that, just because the ball spins like a helicopter.
Right.
I don't know, but they do that shit every time.
Right.
Dude. If you don't know who they are, they're on YouTube on like Overtime Season or something like that, right?
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know was I thought was great was their starting kicker was a girl, and she like took that role on like a champ.
Yeah.
She would get chewed out. I was like, oh my god. Any other girl, she's crying. I mean, she did cry, but
right.
You know, she didn't want to do it anymore. But this girl, nah, dude, she's tough as nails. I liked her. I was like, dude, you are it, girl. You are it. I like you. And I think she was only a junior, so she's gonna be back.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you're only gonna get better at these kicks. So yeah, it's cool. But I think that's it.
Yeah, that would be it.
Done and done. Week 5 in the books.
That's right.
Thank you guys for either giving us questions or us finding them on Facebook, because like you guys post them on Facebook. We're usually snapping pictures of it just to answer them. Again, we appreciate y'all watching. You got anything?
Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out Chief Pigskin YouTube. Go on to our online clinic at clinic.chiefpigskin.com. Check out all the content and stuff there. And then we'll be back for week 6 next week.
Maybe I'll be practicing by then.
Woo!
Let's go. I'm not even religious, but let's do this. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.